Writing a great supporting
Writing
character.
a fan-fucking-tastic supporting character.
Featuring Mitty and Nanachi.
Disclaimer, if you haven't watched Made in Abyss before, there's gonna be huge spoilers. Why haven't you watched it yet? Go fucking watch it.
Second disclaimer, I've only watched the anime because it was animated so well, and I'm waiting for the second season because there's only so few animes that I actually enjoy, so fuck leave me alone. Alright, so Made in Abyss was pretty good. Now, there are thousands of pounds of this review that would be better than mine. Rather, I will be focusing on a specific character, Nanachi, and how the author, Akiko Tsukushi,
How the fuck do you pronounce this guy's name?
well, how he fucking nailed the character. I mean, not like that though.
Part 1!
Prerequisites of character introductions. The setting. Setting is what the author uses to create not only time and space, but can also have an impact on the tone of the story. Tone? What the fuck is tone? Well, it's a lot of things, but it's mostly the atmosphere the director wants the audience to see. Think about it as like a base flavor. Now, the base flavor is always gonna be there. It's up to the director to add complementary or non-complementary spices to it.
Ramen powder on beef, ramen powder on cheese, ramen powder on a...
The setting can be utilized by the author to make a very memorable introduction. It was utilized pretty well. Okay, now let's set up the prerequisites and explain the setting of her introduction. The kids, Riko and Reg, are driven by their personal motives. Riko to find her mother, and Reg to make sure that Riko, his best friend, is safe along her journey. Well, that and his dumbass got himself amnesia and he can't remember where he's from, so he's like curious about that, I guess. The audience are fed with a constant dichotomy between the innocence of the kids and the relentlessness of the abyss. The abyss, as we know now, has no goals. It is indifferent. I mean, the art style contrasting the two is absolutely brilliant in my opinion, showing the purity of the kids and their chibi cute little styles, so the rest of the abyss is cruel and disgusting monsters. I digress. Let's get back to the point. Now, in the nick of time, Reg was always able to save Riko in situations of real danger. Basically, little mini go-go gadget over here was pretty reliable. Now, in every TV show with a villain you have ever watched, there is going to be a trope called sorting algorithm of evil. And this trope is basically enemies get stronger as the story progresses. And oftentimes because of this trope, our protagonists hit a wall. Except this time, the wall actually came alive and slapped the living shit out of these two. So this is the wall that bitch slapped them. It was the first time Reg really failed to protect Riko, and the outcome for this was the worst scenario, Riko's death. After Riko's cumbersome injury, Reg not only realizes he's about to lose his best friend, but he'll be alone in the abyss. Reg is terrified, and in turn the viewers are terrified. The last half of episode 10 punches you in the gut with what the abyss always was. It's literally 10 minutes of Riko suffering, as her symptoms just keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse. AT and the editor did a fucking dynamite job of making us feel Riko's pain and Reg's dumbfoundedness. He also did a very good job of setting the stage for
Nanachi.
Part 2. First impressions are lasting impressions. There are many ways to make a memorable character. Well, to start off, that poppin' character design, dude. Better call Gucci. It protects it.
What the fuck is she doing? That armor's kinda cool. I wonder why she helping them out. Where's my dad?
The mystique surrounding Nanachi drives your curiosity. Another thing AT does very well is prolonging the misdirection. Hey, remember that time when Riko was getting like a compounding amount of fucked every minute for 10 minutes? Not only is the scene prolonged, it's pretty fucking engaging. AT pulls you into the moment, and you start to forget that these characters have plot armor.
Characters are made in Abyss don't have fucking plot armor. How the fuck do you know? I can't even believe this motherfucker would say this has plot armor.
You guys done?
Plot armor's gay!
Okay, I know plot armor is a taboo word, phrase, whatever. But honestly, it's not always bad. Much like everything else, plot armor is on a scale. It also branches off into subtropes, which I will get into in another video. AT used plot armor to introduce a character, and it was utilized pretty well here.
Unlike some people.
Alright, well, since Reg is completely useless in these situations, this bunny boo-boo bitch speaks up, and Reg, being the completely useless piece of shit garbage that he is forced to listen to this stranger. Since Reg has no real choice but to listen to Nanachi here, the power dynamic is skewed in Nanachi's favor. These types of power dynamic introductions, as I'll now call them, puts the underpowered character in a moment of great tension, and the choices are clearly defined. making it very easy to convey to the audience the emotions the characters have to go through. Now Reg is forced to depend on Nanachi as a source of power, meaning they rely on her to save Riko's life. Nanachi calmly instructs Reg to do CPR, where you get
Child porn!
Then she suggests to go back to her hideout, where you get
More child porn!
Oh god damn it, she takes off her armor.
Child porn! Sir, this is a warrant for your arrest.
No, it's cool, dude. It's lolly. It's like fake child porn, dude.
Oh yeah, then that's totally okay then, right?
Fuck no! Well, you realize she's not human, nor is she a beast. She's saying she's a narehate?
Another half-half, huh? Wow, real original.
Hey!
What?
Shut the fuck up! Because here is where Nanachi goes from an okay character to a great character.
Mitty.
You are introduced to Mitty, and you're like... But then this heap of fleshy shit just kinda grows on you, you know? Mitty was the proverbial grandma that died in school to make one of the students look like they've been through some shit, but in a very good way. So Nanachi says Mitty is a narehate too, so why and how are they different?
Part
Out
3!
of how many parts?
As many as I want.
Exposition time. Nanachi grew up lonely in what I assume to be an orphanage. Nanachi wants to see the bottom of the abyss, also known as God in their world. Then this dickhole Bondrude comes along out of nowhere and says,
Hey guys, we're taking advantage of kids. Haha, just kidding. You guys want to come?
and the kids were like, shit man, sure, for free? Yeah, alright. Then in the distance, Nanachi sees a girl, Mitty. She is the bubbliest little girl, eccentric and brash, but very affable. I swear to Christ, man, kids in anime are the worst. Hey, wanna play?
Fuck you, you smell!
Hey guys, I'm...
Fuck off!
Anyways, Mitty eventually introduces herself to Nanachi. I don't think anyone has treated Nanachi the way Mitty did. She compliments her cleverness, she shares her enthusiasm of the abyss. Mitty thinks the world of her newfound partner. Nanachi, in turn, finally has a friend. Weird attracts weird. Kind of a side note, but I think Nanachi stinks so people push her away. Maybe that's why she hates it when people come close to her, because she was so used to being smelly. It's like a reflex or something. I don't know. In Nanachi's own way, she's the leading role. The supporting role would obviously be, you guessed it,
This fucking guy.
Nah, I'm just kidding, it's Mitty. Alright, so while we were fucking around, all the other kids died. And then there were two, Mitty and Nanachi.
Mitty!
But what about...
Fuck you, Nanachi!
So this fucking guy just grows a conscience at the last second.
I've thought about it, and I don't think it's a good idea to kill kids, man.
A piece of shit.
Nanachi stumbles in to find her best friend in a container. Bondrude explains to them that they're part of an experiment to nullify the burden of ascension. Mitty is in the container that bears all of the burden, but if she dies midway, the curse will be transferred to the other container where Nanachi is, and then the experiment commences. The two friends are staring at each other in their final moments. As they are ripped up through the layers of the abyss, Nanachi watches her one and only treasure being mutated in the worst way imaginable. But because of their love, their bond, Mitty's strength, Nanachi was able to live. Mitty has one and final wish. If I'm not human anymore, kill me. Well, this is kind of hard because she's immortal now. She is continuously tortured and experimented on. We don't know what happens, but we see Nanachi piggybacking Mitty to safety as the death pugs surround her, signaling Mitty isn't really alive. Alright, so sob story / exposition over. Mitty was introduced twice, once as the abomination and once as her lovable human self. You feel a sense of dread when you hear this little girl's name in the flashback.
Alright, no more meaties, teeties, thank God.
And it's always in the back of your mind, not the titties, the her in the abomination form. What happened to her? How did this turn to this? When we are first introduced to these characters, we are in the middle of their journey. This in writing is known as in medias res or res, whatever. It is an effective writing tool where you usually start in the middle of the story and fill in the blanks as you go. Think about this type of writing as watching a prequel. Now, if you use in medias res correctly, it should do a couple things. 1. Most, if not all, of the character's actions should be justified. 2. It should shade the character in a different light. Nanachi, who was once so reliable, has been painted in a new light. Pitiful, in a sense. It is this new angle that makes a character not only multi-dimensional and complex, but it's also what makes them, them. Mitty is also an anchor. Writers will create an anchor to solidify a reason to keep a character in one place. And the reason she has to stay here is because she has to kill her best friend. Yeah, How's that for an anchor? She has to kill someone who introduced her to friendship. She has to kill someone who saved her life. She has to kill her best friend. Killing someone is usually used as a main plot device in a lot of stories to drive the character from place to place. On the flip side, the anchor is usually to save somebody, not to kill them. But much like saving somebody, Nanachi is on a time restraint. One of these days, Nanachi will die. What will happen to Mitty then? She will undoubtedly suffer her immortality for eternity. Well, lucky for her, Nanachi's journey with Mitty is close to finished. When Nanachi is guiding Reg in the fight against the monster, she discovers how she can finally fulfill Mitty's wish. Nanachi and her anchor are about to be freed. And now you see why Nanachi chose to save Riko and Reg. She knows exactly what it feels like to lose a friend. What sets Nanachi apart from me is not one particular thing. This is just beautiful execution by AT. See, because of Mitty, Nanachi has to go through so much. This was her one and only friend, which she dragged out of Ida Front to the upper 4th layer. Nanachi was Mitty's caretaker and liberator.
She gains her knowledge by torturing people, trying to kill her best friend.
I mean, she reads to her every night, hoping she can at least soothe her soul in the slightest of ways. The only reason Nanachi is alive to begin with is to liberate her soul from her curse, going as far as to say after she did her duty, there's no reason to live anymore. Much like Kentaro Miura, the guy who created Berserk, AT is very good at pulling your heartstrings in the most brutal of ways. Loss, rather tragedy, lingers in your heart. Something that was there in front of you is now just a memory. I mean, why do you think Nina from Fullmetal Alchemist was so memorable?
Okay, it's not as sad as Nina.
Oh yeah?
Nanachi's optimistic goals of being able to explore the abyss and meeting God with her friend changed to killing her best friend, and then herself. In Mitty's final moments, you see Nanachi hugging her and blaming herself for everything. She carried this guilt all this time, and now she can finally fulfill her friend's wish.
Much like Mitty, Nanachi was introduced multiple times. At first, Nanachi only has her wonder for the abyss, and in trying to satisfy that wonder, she found something she truly holds dear. This was the Nanachi that was infinitely burdened by the responsibility of freeing Mitty. Her latter introduction, we see a shedding of her old life. We see a new family. We see a Nanachi that hopes. We see a Nanachi with an unknown ending, one that believes she will once again meet her treasure someday.
When she dies...
Episode!
How to not write a supporting character. Fucking Sakura from Naruto.
The end.